Hi, Anthony and Bob Barker here, and today we're celebrating 1 year on YouTube for us, as well as making some charcuterie boards, and at the end of the video we'll be doing a small giveaway. So let's get started. Alright, so first we wanted to celebrate 1 year on YouTube. Technically we're just shy. First video that we put out was a workbench video in March of last year, so we're almost there, but close enough. Our first video that we put out was a workbench video, which just blew me away how many views we got on that one. It was really awesome. And I checked this morning and we're just over 6,300 subscribers, which is far and away better than what Bob Barker and I expected this far out from our YouTube journey. So we both wanted to say thank you for everybody that's been watching our videos, all the subscribers, people leaving us comments below. It really kind of helps us get some motivation to keep on doing these projects. And over this last year, we're really pleased with the different varieties and types of projects that we've been doing, and we definitely want to keep on doing that in the future. And just for an eye on the future, some of the upcoming projects that we're going to be doing that I'm very excited about is a patio furniture set. So we're going to be starting off with some chairs that we've made, and then we're going to be doing a coffee table, we're going to do a sofa, and we'll probably add some end tables on it as well. I've been trying to be a little bit careful on how I'm making them to make it look great, but also be easy enough for other people to make them as well. So I'll be making some detailed plans on those. So just keep an eye out for those. There's going to be awesome projects. All right, and then so, you know, during our projects, I ended up making some charcuterie boards, which honestly, I don't even know if that's how you pronounce it. So if somebody knows how to pronounce it properly, and can you just let me know in the comments below so I can fix that. And Bob Barker came up with the idea that he wanted to do a giveaway. So but before we get to that, let's just get into the charcuterie boards themselves. So we're just going to do a quick video on how we made them.
Okay, so to get started, I wanted to make a template because I knew I was going to be making a bunch of these. So I just got a scrap piece of 3/4 inch plywood and cut it down to the rough size. Then I had this other charcuterie board that I was fixing for one of my wife's friends. So I just kind of used that as partially a template for what I'm making here. But of course, you know, I'm changing the shape a little bit according to the wife's wishes. So I drew out roughly what I wanted, and then I cut off most of it with this old jigsaw, which fought me the whole way. But once we get that down, then we can kind of use the other one as a template and flush trim bit. But pro tip here, you probably don't want your clamps to be in the way of your router. It kind of makes it a little hard to follow the path. So once I fix that, then we can finish up using that flush trim bit to get this template to the shape that I want it to. And then that's going to come in handy when I'm making all the rest of the charcuterie boards later. And for these edges, I just got a round over bit and just put a nice little round over on each one of those edges. And then that'll transfer easily when I'm using this later to make the actual charcuterie boards. So once that template's ready, we can actually work on the boards. So I got some walnuts from the local lumber yard, and those are around 5 to 6 inches wide. So my plan was to cut these down and then join them together. And the edges were pretty straight, but not perfect. So I just did a quick pass on my table saw, and that got them a nice, good joint. So they fit together nice and tight. Now, if they're not straight, like this board right here, you can see that's got a little bit of a bow in it. What I did here is I just used a longer piece of straight wood that I had, which is one of my Traxall guides, and I glued it to that, and I'm using that as a straight surface to be able to cut a nice straight edge off of this board. So you can see there, I'm just running it through the table saw, and that gives me a nice straight edge there. Then I can take it off and then just straighten up the other side. So for this particular piece, I'm actually cutting it in half because it's going to be on the edges of a board that I'm making to the specifications for my mother. So you can see here how it kind of forms 3 pieces with the lighter wood in the middle. So once we have those ready, I set them up on these platforms just to make the glue up a little easier. And I use the Type Bond 3 on this one just because it's resistant to water. And then I just put a whole bunch of glue on all the edges. And then once that's in, then we just put it all together and clamp it up. And I like to put this piece in the middle of some straight 2x4s, and I use that just to keep the board from bowing when I'm putting all the sideways pressure with the rest of the clamps. So I kind of get that roughly in place, and then I'll tighten it up a little bit better later. And then I just put all the rest of my clamps. Now there are other type of clamps that would be much better for this, but this is what I have, so this is what I'm using. And I'm just kind of careful as I go to make sure that everything stays in line with each other. And I use these little extra clamps on the edge too to keep the different pieces of wood from kind of moving on each other as I'm clamping them up. So I just go through and keep on doing that as I go. Now a lot of this stuff would be easier if I had a joiner or a planer, but I don't have those things right now. But this is still definitely a project you can get done without those things, and it's not too difficult, and it's pretty fun and rewarding to do. And so for the other boards I'm making that are all going to be 2 pieces, I just follow the same process. Just smear all the glue in there, clamp them up, and let it dry. Then after that, we can start shaping them. So here, everything is nice and dry, ready to remove all of the million clamps. I might have went a little bit overboard on this one. But after I finally get it out, then we can do a quick sanding just to make this a little nicer. And then we can get the template on. And then what we're gonna do with the template is basically we put it in place, and then I'm drawing a line where it's gonna be cut eventually. And what I'm gonna do is cut off the excess with the jigsaw. That way it doesn't have to deal with it on the flush trim bit on the router. And you can see there, I did finally get a new jigsaw, and this is so much better. And at this time, that's actually my dad in the background there. We're making a charcuterie board for him at this particular time. Like I said, I ended up making a bunch of them. So after we had that roughly cut out, then we just used the blue tape trick to get these together. So put blue tape on both of them, and then we're gonna use some CA glue, and just because I wanted to go a little quicker, some activator as well. And that'll temporarily hold these together while I'm using the flush trim bit on my router table. So we got all that in, and just be really careful just because it bonds pretty darn quick. Get it set up right where you want it. And then it'll be nice and firm. And just to be sure, Bob Barker came and checked. And with his paw of approval, I took it over to my router table with a flush trim bit. And basically you just run it around all these edges, and it gets you the exact shape that you intended with the template that we already made. And this actually makes it so much easier to make, and I've now, like I said, made a whole bunch of these, and this template has really come in handy and saved me a ton of time. And you can see the router table is working great for that, and the dust collection does work great, unless kind of like here I forget to turn the vacuum on, and then it just kind of gets all over the place. So with that done, the main shape of the board is already there. We would just take it off of the template and of course remove all that glue. Then we just got some finishing to do. So those edges are a little harsh, so I just use a small round over bit all around it just to kind of make that a little nicer on your hands. I think I was using an 1/8 inch round over bit for this particular board. And then once we get that done, we do a bit of a sanding, and we do multiple rounds of sanding on this one. It went up to around 180 grit, and that actually seemed to work out pretty great for me. So the next part was putting a little hole here just for on the handle, just for when you grab it, it makes it a little nicer. So I just use a Forstner bit for that, and of course a backer piece to make sure you don't get blowout. And then we will also take this part and do a little round over and then hand sand that as well. So then after that's done, I just kind of get the board a little wet just to raise the grain on it, and then we'll end up doing one more round of sanding again after that before we can start putting finish on it. And Bob Barker was very excited for this step, so he wanted to personally supervise it very closely, although he did kind of get away with the camera. And for this one, we're using food grade mineral oil, and we just put a coat on there, let it sit, then wipe off the excess, and if necessary, you can put on a couple more coats just to kind of get it all nice and soaked in. And then after that, we put on the conditioner, which has more mineral oil as well as waxes that help protect the wood. And for that one, we let sit a little longer, then once again wipe off the excess. And this is definitely the most favorite part for me of this, because it's so nice to see that wood just come to life once you get the finish on it. So just because I like it so much, this is the board that we were making for my father. And you can kind of see all those grains prop, and I just think it looks great once you get all of that finish on there. So that's it for those boards, but for my mother, she wanted more of a tray. So once we got that out of the clamps for the glue, I had to do a lot of sanding on this one just to kind of get it all nice and level. And it's a little interesting to do since the wood for the middle is much softer than the wood on the outside. The one on the outside is like a black mesquite, which is super hard. So it made it interesting to do. But once we got it all nice and smoothed out, we just cut the edges just to make it just a good rectangular board. And of course I did the same round over on this one as well. But for this one, since we don't have any protruding handles, we're going to be putting some handles into the board itself. So I drew out my lines and used a Forstner bit, and I usually kind of go backwards just real fast and then forward, and that seems to give me a nice clean hole. And then what we're going to do is we're going to kind of do a dog bone shape handle. So I do the two on each side here, and then we're going to do some measurements and draw a line between those two holes that's slightly inset from the edge of the circle. And then we use our jigsaw just to cut straight along those and give us the cutout of the handle. As you can kind of see here, that it's going to create a little bit of a shape on there. And let me tell you, I would not have been able to do this line with my old jigsaw. With that cut out, then we just want to smooth everything out. I do a round over on there, and then we just do a lot of hand sanding, and of course raise the grain, resand it again, and then it's ready for finish on this one as well. Now at first I wasn't too sure how much I like this one up until I got the finish on there, and then I think it looks really good. I like the way that those colors kind of played each other, and with those lines going through with the middle section of it.
All right, so we ended up making a ton of these boards. I gave away some to family and friends, and like I said, Bob Barker came up with the idea that he wanted to give away some to our subscribers, which I thought was an awesome idea. However, so for this giveaway, it is, just done by me. It's all coming out of my own pockets. No, it's nothing affiliated with YouTube or anybody else. It's just me trying to say thank you for watching our videos. So we're going to be doing two parts. One is going to be the charcuterie boards. So these are the two that we're going to be giving away, and Bob Barker does approve of them. So we're going to call this one right here number 1, and this one number 2. So because this is all coming out of my pocket, I want to keep my shipping costs not too crazy. So we're going to limit these ones to the continental US. And so leave a comment below if you like these and which one you would prefer, number 1 and number 2. And then we'll give those away, but I don't want to leave the rest of the viewers out. So what we're going to be doing for that is put these down, is we'll be giving away some of our plans. So we have a list of plans that we have on the Etsy store. I have a link below. That way you can go to my Etsy store and check out all the different plans we have. So if you're interested in any of those, and that one is not limited to any location, just take a look at there, see which one you want, and put a comment in below. And you can even list the charcuterie boards and the plans, because I'm going to be doing 2 for the boards and 5 for the plans. So I'll just kind of go through the comments and pick out winners, and we'll figure out how to contact you and get stuff to you. Work with me on this one because it's the first time I'm doing a giveaway, so there may be a little bit of bumps, but I'll make sure everything gets given to the winners. And if you have any family or friends that are interested in either the plans or the boards or just in the content in general, tell them to come check out the video, leave a comment below as well. But please don't spam comments, just do 1 comment each. If I see like any individuals that's doing multiple comments, then I'm just gonna ignore that one and won't pick them as the winner. So that's gonna be it for today. Good luck for everybody who's interested in getting some of this. And of course, since I still a small channel and low number of subscribers, your chances are a little bit better to win it, so there's always that. So we just wanna say thank you again. And if you're new to the channel, please leave us a comment anyway as well. If you like the content, helps it out if you subscribe or smash the like button, and we'll see everybody in the next one.